Okay, just a quick one about um, zoning and anti-portals, how to optimize a map. Here's a very, very simple scenario, if you like, of um, just a general map. I mean, you could make it could be any map. But how to optimize this? The thing is, as a player, you would only see from a particular room to another particular room and everything else. But see, there's a static mesh over here. Um, this has gone all black. It's like I've just made my map and all my static meshes are black. How can I stop making my static meshes black? Well, we need to add a zone info. So let's go and add zone info. It should be here, it doesn't matter. And let's give it some ambience. People tell me to give it ambience, so we'll give it some ambience light. Let's make it a 30 just because. And let's just build my map as geometry. And woohoo! There it is. My static mesh has been lit up. That's great. And if I hit this button, zone portal, it says, it's all blue. It's all one zone. So let's start to optimize the map, because obviously from here, if I was to look through the wireframe, this is what the Unreal Engine looks at. Even though you're a player, the engine actually knows where all the holes are and knows all this wireframe and everything else, and it has to draw it all. And the whole point of optimization is to try and stop the engine from having to draw all this, because it takes a lot of CPU power to draw all of this. This is nothing, but I mean, a lot of maps are really, really complicated. So you're trying to optimize it and trying to stop not only the engine drawing it, but from a player's perspective, from you seeing all the stuff before you need to see it. The other point is that the Unreal Engine, you are a player, you're a client of the server. So, unless you're playing an offline game, obviously, but if you're playing an online game, you are a client, and you send all your data of where you are, the people you can see, and what you can see to the server. The server takes everybody's, all players' data, and the server, will decide how much data you need to see. Well, in our particular case, because it's all one zone, the server has to send you all data, because even though you're just playing in this square and you are just being acted upon by other players within this square, because it's all one zone, it has to send you all data. Well, surely sending you all data has got to be more expensive for the CPU and more expensive, for the server and IPs and everything else, than if I don't, from this point here, I don't need to know what's going on here, 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 or here. Well, maybe I do from there, but I don't need to know what is going on in these squares at all. So the server doesn't need to send me that info, and yet because I have not optimized this map, the server has to send me that info because there are no zone restrictions. So if I restricted my map so that the server doesn't need to send me so much data, then my particular data would come to me in a smaller packet and faster, hopefully, than the server having to send data to all people at all times. So that is the point about zoning, and that is the point about optimization. From here, you see, if I went to the wireframe, I shouldn't have to see that static mesh over here. Why do I need to be updated that there's a static mesh over there? There is no reason whatsoever that I need to know there is a static mesh over there. So this is what we're going to try and cover, is I don't need to see that static mesh from over here. But a lot of people get stuck with, I just did all these zones, and it's like, actually, before we even start, look, these textures don't even match. They are totally different. Not different. They're just not they're just totally misaligned. So, as a mapper, I hate that when people can't be asked to fix this shit. So, luckily I've only got a simple map, so let's just right hand click and just do select surfaces, select matching texture in our case. So that's all good, and let's go to surface properties, and let's go to alignment, and let's do planar, and align them all. See, now they're all perfectly aligned. They're the wrong size, obviously, but let's go back to the original size, and now they are perfectly aligned. So you don't have this stupid thing, which really annoys me. Anyway, my personal gripe. So let's optimize this silly little thing. So how do we optimize? So we want to shove every single little cube into its own zone. So we need to block off the zones, obviously. And I'm damn sure everybody knows how to do this, and I'm only sucking eggs. I'm sure, even though I made this rubbish, I can't remember, so I'm just going to measure. What is it? It looks like it's what? Yeah, I think it's 120 by 128 or something like that. 128, and we want it vertical. Put that somewhere. It's over here. So obviously we are to the grid, and I only use a 1. Everybody else uses whatever they want, but I like a 1. And there you go, it's perfectly aligned. And everybody knows that we, in Unreal 2004, there is a texture specifically for zone infos. which is this zone portals, zone infos, I meant zone portals. So, and a zone portal, we have to be able to run through it, so it can't just be a straight build. We have to use the add special brush, and it has to be a zone portal, and we shall use that one. Okay, you have to excuse me while I just quickly run around all these. So zone portals, well, it's that orientation. And the last two. Okay, so I think we're all pretty much zoned over there, so I'll get rid of that one. So that was great, and as you can see at the moment, I've got a zone info in here, and stuff. So let's build our geometry again. So now you can see that my static mesh has gone black again. There, that's very annoying. But let's look at our zone infos. You can see we've got lots of different zone infos now. They're all multicolored. Yay. But this has a zone info lighting of 30, whereas this zone hasn't got any zone info whatsoever. So each zone, and again with the Unreal Engine, this Unreal Engine now would update this zone. It wouldn't really know about these other zones. Well, obviously it's going to build them. I mean, nothing else changed. The wireframe never changed. We've got, you know, all these extra textures, portals, whatever. But to the Unreal Engine, there's still only one zone. So when it updates your particular data of somebody shooting at you, it has to update the data on everybody else as well, which it really shouldn't have to, because if somebody is shooting in this area, they don't need to tell you about that. They only need to tell people in this area. So now we really need to, as far as the engine is concerned, to help it out by putting a zone info in every single area, every new area. So zone info. This is only a silly map. I mean, this wouldn't be a normal map, but well, hey, you're welcome to use it. So zone info, and even though you put them there, you now need to make all zone infos the same. Actually, that's not the true case, because I can select all zone info. In my case, I am going to make zone light 30, just because I can. I can even build it, and as you can see, because I've got a zone info, my static mesh is now lit at a 30, an ambience of 30. But the other thing about zone infos is that because it's a separate area, each area can now be controlled separately. So on the zone info, not only can I control the zone light, the ambient brightness, I can actually change the color of it. I'm not going to do that here because I've got no lighting to accompany it, but say I wanted to go from a light area to a dark area, so I've got a zone info here of 30, but I could go to a darker area and use torches and other lighting methods to make it more darker and more spooky, and or even brighter if I went outside. And if I went outside of the map, I could use sunlight and everything else and make the sunlight even brighter. But is all we've done here. It looks like we haven't really done much, because in the wireframe everything, it still looks about the same. Lots of zone infos. But as far as the Unreal Engine is concerned, and that's the thing that you don't know about, or you don't understand, or you don't comprehend. Nobody has to think about it. Nobody has to think about the Unreal Engine. Nobody has to think about the server's status, or the CPU, or the drainage on the system. But the engine would be happier now, because if I was playing in this area, it would only have to report to me what's happening in I don't know, maybe this area, and at the worst case that area, and that one and that one. It would not have to tell me anything about those three. So as far as the engine is concerned, those three, to me personally, those three are oblivious. I don't need to know. I don't need to be updated about their status. And this is the point that of optimization that people don't seem to understand, is the way the engine works and the way that the engine has to update you. So there you go. I can get rid of these portals by going to the live view. So this is the live view. Sometimes these are a bit big, so I'm just going to select all zone info, and just because my map is tiny, I'm just going to change the draw scale into tiny. So yeah, that looks better. That's just me again, personally. You don't have to do this. So the next thing is, how else? So you say to yourself, right, okay, I've zone infoed all the areas, I've made them all into the actual ambient brightness that I want, but for the particular room that I have infoed off, if you like, or zoned off. I've zoned off this room. If I wanted to, I could have added fog. So in this particular room, I can distance fog true, blah blah blah, distance fog start. Well, I know it's only a 256 room, so if I made it into 20, I've no idea. And the end was there, 200. And yeah, okay, it's grey fog stuff to it. I'm not sure I should do this, but anyway, we'll try building geometry, building lighting. No, oh, yep. So now I've got fog in here, but as soon as I walk out, I haven't got any fog. So I can make a particular level into, and I can change the fog color. I'm not going to, but yes, you have to remember about other people's settings as whether they have fog on or off. But anyway, this particular level, this particular room, zone is the important thing. I can change lots of attributes because it's a separate zone. If I didn't have these other zones, then wherever I applied to this room would apply to all rooms, which you don't necessarily want all rooms doing the same thing. So anyway, in this particular case, I'm going to turn the fog back off. Like I say, this is an ambient brightness of 30, but I'm just going to build it as back into geometry. So we're still back into how else can I optimize. Like I say, we've already optimized with zones. How else can I help the engine, Unreal Engine, on this playing on my favorite server? How can I help the engine be faster, smoother, more FPS stuff? Well, like I keep on saying, it comes back to wireframe. This is what the engine sees. This is what the engine has to draw. It has to draw all these lines, and it has to work out this is a zone portal, and this has a blocking volume, whatever. Anyway, I'm not going to be bothered about this. I'm going to do a couple of versions of how from this room, I don't need to see that static mesh. I don't need to know about it at all. It's like, why would, for me, where I am, why would the engine need to draw that? It doesn't. So this is another one where we can optimize. Luckily I've got a big square space. Aha! Isn't that lucky? So that big square space, there's a couple of things I can do here. I'm going to just say, well, that big square space is, let's measure it, is roughly 278. So if I did, who cares, 278, I'll do by 27, oops, who cares, 278, wow, where's the mo with me? And can't remember how big we were. It doesn't really matter. Let's do 512. So let's just build that brush, and that fills that space basically. Yep, that'll do me. So yep, as we're looking down, we're all doing that. We're all covering all the edges, we're all in the middle of the space, and if I went over here, wow, that's big. I wouldn't have done it that big normally, but who cares? Let's make this an anti-portal. There is a special button, add anti-portal. I think you can get through there as well. Yeah, anti-portal in a special brush, but it doesn't matter because we have an anti-portal button. Ooh, you see that? It suddenly disappeared. That's basically what an anti-portal does, is like no light, no nothing will be emitted from this area. So if we now went on to look at our view, you can see the static mesh, all the brushes, as close as I am to this anti-portal, all the wires disappear. As you can see from here, as soon as I become part of the static mesh from here, as soon as my personal engine from my personal space that I'm playing on this particular level, as soon as I see that, see the red line, as soon as it comes onto the static mesh, I see it. And that's another important point. You need to remember that bit. But anyway, so there's an idea, and as you can see from here, I've reduced the amount of lines that the engine has to draw for me. Therefore, from my personal perspective, as I'm playing in this game, because I don't have to draw so much crap, then I don't. Then my FPS, my personal player experience should go up. It might only be marginal, but any optimization you can do to help out the Unreal Engine is a good thing. There's a better way of doing this, because obviously not everybody has the luxury of this. The other thing is, you notice it's an orange brush. AntiPortals are always orange. Did I build that? I can't remember. Yeah, I did. Oh, it's probably because I haven't built lighting. Normally if I build lighting, I think, let's build all. Yeah, no, never mind. Kind of thought it would disappear. Anyway, let's get rid of this one. So, and it's back. So, another way of doing it is, instead of using the big cubey thing, you don't need a big cubey thing. In this particular map, because it is particularly that way inclined, I could actually make it better than that. So because I can go from doorway to doorway, if you like, so let's just say 400. Not that one, we want a sheet, so I can make it 400 wide, and I think it's 256, so that'll do. So 400 by 256. Let's bring the old brush. See if we can do better than that. If we wanted to be really, so that'd be another 16. So there we go. So, and if I made that one an anti-portal, I could also make this one an anti-portal. Okay, so you notice that take the brush away. So you notice when I'm in live view, that's dynamic light is turned on. I can't see the AntiPortal. If I turn off the live view, I can now see. One thing about AntiPortals is they can intersect like this. They can cross each other, but they can't cross each other in the center. You couldn't have a cross. They don't like being in a cross. That's just a bit of stupid knowledge. Anyway, so let's build our geometry again, and let's look through the wireframe. So no static mesh. Come through here. Oh, there it is. But see, now it's really is like, until I get through the portal is running through this side, so now I see nothing, and you can see all the brushes are disappearing as I go through portals. And that's the point, is that from your position, the Unreal Engine has to update your position, but by segregating into separate zones, it can optimize your experience